Before this video starts, I just want to say Before this video starts, I just want to say Before this video starts, I just want to say Before this video starts, I just want to say
Shout out to the people that are locked up in the Bikini Bottom, bro. Man, we got Mr. Krabs, Plankton, Karen, Sandy Cheeks, Mrs. Puff, and Pearl. Man, they all locked up. Can't believe it no more, bro. Damn, I'm out. Yo, I'm finna kill Bob. I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I'm smoking on dead hogs. I pull up with Glocks and I put your mans in a box. I told her I'm done. I don't think she really happy. I told her shut up before I slap you with a patty. Bow! I look from the back and she looking real fatty. Yeah, damn! I'm sick of her cause she getting real chatty. I think she a rat. 6'9". I told her to bring the whip to bring me straight to Mackey's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That girl is a munch, like Ice Spice. Every day I be listening to RKT. I got all. She think I'm a joke, and I told her I am, yup. And I told her to sleep on the sofa, and she thought I was playing. Nope. Yo, I'm finna kill Bob. I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I'm smoking on dead hogs. I pull up with Glocks, and I put your mans in a box. I told her I'm done. I don't think she really happy. I told her shut up before I slap you with a patty. Bow! I look from the back and she looking real fatty. Yeah, damn! I'm sick of her cause she getting real chatty. I think she a rat. 6'9". I told her to bring the whip to bring me straight to Mackey's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That girl is a munch, like Ice Spice. Every day I be listening to RKT. I got all. She think I'm a joke, and I told her I am, yup. And I told her to sleep on the sofa, and she thought I was playing. Nope. She thought I was playing, so I told her to sleep outside with a dog. Arf, arf. I was scrolling through Insta, saw that girl with another man. What? I told her who this. She got nervous, and she started farting out her pants. Ew. She said she was trans, so I disappeared like John Cena. You can't see me. I told her I'm not like that. She turned and she got real mad. I'm finna kill Bob and I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I smoking on my dead hogs. I pull up my Glock and I put your mans in a box. Damn, that's disrespectful, man. I told her I was done. She was mad. She called her man spin back. Pull up a Glock and come out the van in a box. His face look real mad. I told him bet. Wait, hold up. The beat's already done? Man, this sucks, bro. Man, I'm done.
Yo, finding someone else like me, that's unlikely. Despise me, calling me toxic, yeah, I might be. Met your mother the other day, yeah, she liked me. Little did she know you can't fake just like Kylie Jenner. You probably broke it for a tenner. Scrolling through your messages, baby, you're not clever, you're dumb. You chat to men just for fun. We used to work together like Red Bull and rum. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that, yo, look. Yo, sorry, Mr. Corner. Leave a message, I'll hit you right back.
Hey, I'm kind of glad you didn't pick up. I kind of just called to hear your voice, so your voice recording was enough. I should hang up. What am I doing? So I feel kind of dumb, but I miss you. I've been thinking about you, and I've been thinking about our love and how much.
Yeah, I'm up now. Couldn't really give a fuck now. Like Cardi B, if it's up, then it's stuck now. Somebody bitch wanna fuck now. I might pipe, I won't wife. Might take her home for the night. She wanted 8, I gave her 9. Bitch after bitch just to get you off my mind. I'm stressed, all I wanna do is get you undressed. Put that pussy on me while I grab on your breast. I know I didn't come, but your head was the best. Swear it was the best, like, yo. I know I lied, yeah, I'm a capper. I'm not a fraudster, I'm not a trapper. I do this shit for fun, I'm not a rapper. Nah, for real, you really missed out on me. But like, finding someone else like me, that's unlikely. Despise me, calling me toxic, yeah, I might be. Met your mother the other day, yeah, she liked me. Little did she know you can't fake just like Kylie Jenner. You probably broke it for a tenner. Scrolling through your messages, baby, you're not clever, you're dumb. You chat to men just for fun. We used to work together like Red Bull and rum. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that pussy on my face. All my days, can't believe you put that pussy on my face. On my face. Put that, yo, toodles. Yo. Fuck the queen type shit, you know what I'm saying? Bye bye, queen. Yeah. Yo, I heard the queen's racist, man. You don't fuck with that. You don't fuck with the ops either. Fuck the ops, you might know who you are. Yo, listen. Fuck the queen, she got put in a pack. I ain't talking about box, it was more like a coffin. I knew she was dead from the way she was coughing. More time, yeah, she looked like a hoblin'. Yeah, she look like a rat. Back in the day, she was looking real nice. But more time, she don't have back. She ain't got back, yeah, she ain't got back. She feel like a nitty, begging for backy. Shout out my brothers, Afghani, Iraqi. I play with a chan like my name was Jackie. Full cool smell when I went that happy. Heard you were on your knees, that scatty. You're scared. Yeah, I slapped that bitch with a fucking patty. Yeah, I slapped her twice, one time with a condom off. If you're sad that I cheated the queen, trust me that I don't give a toss. Yeah, I don't give a monkeys. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Aye, let me roll this spliff. Who's in the pack? Elizabeth. Alright, let me tell you niggas something, I don't give a fucking monkeys about the queen, G. Like, more time if that was my queen that died, I would be sad. But guess what? It wasn't, so shut your mouth. Fuck the queen, she got put in a pack. I ain't talking about box, it was more like a coffin. I knew she was dead from the way she was coughing. More time, yeah, she looked like a hoblin'. Yeah, she look like a rat. Back in the day, she was looking real nice. But more time, she don't have back. She ain't got back, yeah, she ain't got back. She feel like a nitty, begging for backy. Shout out my brothers, Afghani, Iraqi. I play with a chan like my name was Jackie. Full cool smell when I went that happy. Heard you were on your knees, that scatty. You're scared. And I slapped that bitch with a fucking patty. Don't trust bitches all day. If you play with me, I'll spray. I'll spray and not this Glock 48K. Straight, we no gay. Don't trust bitches all day. If you play with me, I'll spray. I'll spray and not this Glock 48K. Me and all my niggas, we straight, we no gay. Fuck the queen, she got put in a pack. I ain't talking about box, it was more like a coffin. I knew she was dead from the way she was coughing. More time, yeah, she looked like a hoblin. Yeah, she looked like a rat. Back in the day, she was looking real nice, but more time, she don't have back. Yo, I'm not high, but I'm way too fucking high for this, you know what I'm saying? I used to watch Danny Phantom as a little youth. Shit was hard as fuck, innit? So I'm gonna freestyle over this thing right here, man. Yo. Windows tinted black, that's a phantom. We seen her up when they're throwing up tantrums. Dishing out sweets and these ain't no randoms. I put your mask cause she said I was handsome. Yeah, she said I look great. Walk on like, babes, what's good? She said, you wanna come back to mine? I said, sure, come take this wood. I just left her yard, pull 3 bodies like Eddie and Eddie. Unc told me how to shoot from young. Close one eye and hold it steady. I'm on an Uber, cause I ain't got bread for a bus. Boss man took 2 wrong left turns. I'm pissed off, but I won't cause a fuss. That's how I had her sounding. Put my wand in her pussy real quick. She called me Harry like J.K. Rowling. Back to the Uber, I just got dropped off, but I think I'm gonna up-block shit. Just seen but he was my up from year 7. Mad cause I took his bitch. He won't let that go. So I chinged him twice my fucking pole. Batman pulled up asking for backup. Killed him too cause I ride so low. Yeah, I ride on my ones. Roll with a shank, I don't use no guns. Them man up bro, they ain't got no funds. Man is San Andreas, so I dipped his lungs. Yeah, I dipped him quick. Like Taylor, yeah, I'm really swift. Don't take the piss. Take off your clothes and let me hit. Straight back to his marge. Yeah, you know that I rubbed her clit. Put my dick inside, the pussy tight, so I came real quick. Windows tinted black, that's a phantom. We seen her up when they're throwing up tantrums. Dishing out sweets and these ain't no randoms. I put your mask cause she said I was handsome. Yeah, she said I look great. Walk on like, babes, what's good? She said, you wanna come back to mine? I said, sure, come take this wood. I just left her up block, and I think that the man they're hiding. And he's throwing up gang signs, but I don't think he's really on riding. 3 pairs of black Air Force Ones, so that's how you know I'm really on timing. Found out that the ops dad done died. All my days I couldn't stop smiling. Yeah, I can't stop smiling, cause the ops they keep on dying. Jacob said he's getting onto me like blood. Why the fuck are you lying? Yeah, I'm blowing bubbles. This got back so big or large. I call it cake, I ain't talking no funnel. And I just got home, and I think that they robbed my forces. But I'm rich, I don't give a monkeys. Fuck that, nah, I don't give a horses. And I'm sat in my bed, and you know that I'm feeling real horny. Whacked on the telly, you know what I watched, yeah? It was a little pony. Yo, fuck the ops, man. SBGK, suck my dick, man. Shout out my niggas in chat, man. Wagon Reeve, Wagon Slurp, Wagon Sensei, Wagon Mojo, man. Niggas know how it gets. Wagon Alexis. Yo, listen, man. It's got naturally bikini bottom. Man, just freestyling the thing with the chat. Come on, shout everyone in the chat right now. You know what I'm saying? Free my niggas fresh home. I don't know anyone that's locked up right now, but free them. Look, I wanna cap a cheeks, but they're way too sandy. Pussy wet like a patty. I think your dad is gay, cause that hand job he gave me, he look too happy. I know that he's black cause his hair's real nappy. That's my fan, but I call him my Aki. Charlie, y'all come take me on a date, you can drive me around to a fucking Maggie. That girl was trans, so that makes me gay. Gotta disappear like David Blaine. I wanted her blood, it's a shame that she was a guy and I'm on this plane. First class flight on my way to France. First class meal, they serve croissants. I'm a busy guy. J'ai pas de patience. Busy. You know they call me and bounce back in school, but I don't speak French. Yeah, she gave me a wine, so you know that my thing is drenched. No Luffy ting, but you know my dick come long like it's Shanks. My name ain't Rylo, but I got fat stack in my bank. I seen your margin, I had the wank. Now I got fill up my fucking tank. Word to Ice Spice in her big bag, tell her to come eat this fucking Frank. I'm a munch, I like yamming. Pussy sting like some salmon. Blowing up a phone like my name was Osama. Might change my last name to Bin Laden. Wait, I mean Bin Laden. Out of my breath, I've been farting. 1-2 step when I'm in the rave. I never miss shot like my name was Harden. Standing my money and I'm like 6'5". You can call that Erling Haaland. Aries gifted like 15 subs, so you know that his bank account be Carlin. Now he's gifting bits, told his bank account that he's lit. On fire. Don't take the piss, take off your clothes and let me hit. Hey Alexa, take off your clothes, take them off, naughty, yeah. I wanna cap her cheeks but they're way too sandy. Pussy wet like a patty. I think your dad is gay cause that handjob he gave me, he looked too happy. I know that he's black cause his hair's real nappy. That's my fan but I call him my Aki. Charlie, come take me on a date, you can drive me around to a fucking Mackey's. Shout out Joshua, shout out Chazza, shout out Joseph, shout out 666, shout out Revo, shout out Slum, shout out Raylo, shout out Scar. For the guys locked up, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Aries, man, niggas know. Come on.
Mikey got the hit though.
First time I was young and he just put his cock in my mouth and I said to myself that I liked it. I think I was with pulled up on my cup and I seen it expect it. Girl asked me for a dick, I don't swing that way, babe, I'm not on that timing. Yeah, I'm not on that, what? Yo.
First time I was young and he just put his cock in my mouth and I said to myself that I liked it. I think I was with pulled up on my cup and I seen it expect it. Girl asked me for a dick, I don't swing that way, babe, I'm not on that timing. Yeah, I'm not on that, what? Yo, they say I'm a cap and I don't like dicks. I put up my phone and I showed them the vid. In disbelief, can't believe the amount of man in my crib. 1-2 step when I'm in the function. I just bought my up in junction. Had a chef man twice in his wit, now I was claiming a red dysfunction. Told him shut your mouth like Jamie, rock off your back like A&E. Don't play with me, I need his third leg like KFC. Top it on men like it's BTC, it come white like Oral B. Radio this like BBC, and my bitch is gay like Central C. I just FaceTime bro, but he knows locked up, so we done it on Skype. If you want some head, call me a captain if the price is right. I like my wish it like a banana, I need it long and I need it ripe. Drain his dick like a fucking plumber, call me Murray, I lay that pipe. First time I was young and he just put his cock in my mouth and I said to myself that I liked it. I think I was with, pulled up on my cup and I seen that he spiked it. Girl asked me for a dick, I don't swing that way, babe, I'm not on that timing. Yeah, I'm not on that, what? Yo, they say I'm a cap and I don't like dicks. I put up my phone and I showed them the vid. In disbelief, can't believe the amount of man in my crib. 1-2 step when I'm in the function. I just bought my up in junction. Had a chef man twice in his wit, now I was claiming a red dysfunction. Told him shut your mouth like Jamie, rock off your back like A&E. Don't play with me, I need his third leg like KFC. Top it on men like it's BTC, it come white like Oral B. Radio this like BBC, and my bitch is gay like Central C.
Top it on men like it's BTC, it come white like Oral B. Radio this like BBC, and my bitch is gay like Central C. Like Central C. Like Central C. This is the end of the song. I just wanted to say that I'm not actually gay. I actually have a girl and she loves me. I love her. I just got a head from her the other week, fam. So I'm not gay.
I'm a wicked dreamer. You got a hold on my mind, hold on my mind. Put your girl like hit the ceiling, like whoa, I'm Smoke just fill my lungs when the zoot hit done, I'ma build one new blem. Don't make love songs to show you love, I just wanna fuck you to them. She wanna threesome too, man. Is she stupid? This one here ain't got 2 cents. I can never fuck with no other guy, it could be 2 girls, I'm there 2 10. I don't just wanna fuck, I've been through that phase, girl, I wanna show you love. Put one hand on your waist, one hand on your hips, and give me that shoulder touch. You fell in love with the times I was litty, but can I tell you about the colder stuff? Gets me confused when you tell me that you need and say I don't care enough. I'm trying, I promise. Best shit on my mind, best shit I can't deal with. The gal in my life, you're the one that I'm real with. When I make her my wife, you're the one I wanna build with. When we're together, I'm going through shit. Got tears in my eyes, baby, can you build this? You never thought that I had emotions before. You're gonna cry when you hear this. No one knows, not my mum, not my bros, know what I've been through. I ain't gotta tell no one that shit goes away every time that I'm with you. Yeah, it plays on my mind and it fucks me up when I think how dirty that I did you. That's why after this verse, I'ma find your number and text you that I miss you.
It's Crossfinger, baby. It's Crossfinger, baby.
Fui al baño y no había papel. Hice diarrea y no sabía qué hacer. Estaba en apuro y agarré un mantel. Me puse nerviosa y por mi culo lo pasé. Ey, yo tiro esta frase para ver qué hace. Me paso de base y me pongo loco por la base y me transformo pasta base. Yo me tiento con los billetes de ciento. No tengo mucho, se me van por el viento. No tengo aliento, llámame que caiga el nacimiento. Saber lo que voy a la playa para ver a la nena maya. Me desmayo como un maya. Un viejo me vio por atrás, me dio, luego marcó. Mi pito tocó y se venía lo mejor. Mi pito tenía calor, así que llamé a un doctor y le pedí un favor. El pene me metió, caí en adicción y vino el colesterol.
Mi pito cayó, me pidió si era menor. Mi pito se trancó en la culo. Tenía que llamar al doctor. No sabía hablar español. Tenía que usar traductor. Lo pegué y él lloró. Le dije que era maricón. Llamé a mi amigo tetón. Le vi la teta y lo pegué un mordicón.
El amigo tetón era yo. Me bajé el pantalón y el pene me vio. Se arrodilló y me lo chupó.
Lo dije que se pone en 4. Lo di vuelta y lo parto. Mi novio me estaba chupando los huevos. Me dijo que tenía un gusto de sal, que lo pone en los huevos. Me dijo que quería hacer un trío con yo y mi primo. Le dije que no, que mi primo es gay. Se llama Tetón. Mándame fototetas si no sos gay. A un olor en mi cuarto. Creo que mi primo se cagó.
Yo me cagué y el pito se me paró. Fui al almacén y la señora dijo, usted algo me robó. Yo le dije, señora, la concha de tu madre. Lo único que yo robé fue tu corazón. Fui, la puse en 4. No, mentira, la puse en 3 porque le faltaba un brazo. Después entró su madre y le pedí un abrazo. La puse en 4 también. A ella no le falta un brazo. Así que fui. Salí del almacén. La dejé con retraso. La dejé con retraso. La dejé con retraso. La dejé con retraso. Ya, la dejé con retraso. La dejé con retraso. Le faltaba un brazo.
El chupón.
Y el tetón.
Oh. Me chupen los huevos. Me dijo que tiene gusto de sal, que lo pone en huevos. Lo dije, callate bebé, seguí hasta que me vengo. Mira cómo te tengo. Ponete en 4, bebé, que te leo meto.
Así.
A tu novio lo tengo como un perro. Entonces él también me chupa los 2 huevos. Así lo tengo. Después ponete en 4, que después te lo meto. Como dicen los cake. En el mecho, escuchando un fercho. Yo quiero dormir, pero costa en tu pecho.
Entro mientras él lo meto derecho. Mi pito está hecho de metal. Es imposible de cocinar porque ya está cocinado. Está calcinado. Mientras voy empallado, todo drogado, con una verga en la mano. Vos sabés que se la meto en vano. Ella agarra mi pene llorando. Ella se vino mientras vino para venirse. Le meto cinche, me pide que el pelo le cinche. Ya, la tengo derecha mientras otro pez y le pido que me lo coma como paella. ¡Qué rico! Mi otra novia sospecha.
Oh, ese está re duro. Ese fue mi amigo Tetón. Tetón. La vi la teta y la dejé con un chupón. Ah, y mi nombre es Chupón. Chupa, 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 chupa. Ah, me chupa los huevos. Go, go, go. Y tiene un gusto de sal que lo pone en los huevos. Qué rica, puta, te lo chupo. Chupa, 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 chupa. El chupón.
Y el tetón.
Alright, so today's video is definitely an interesting one. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into this. So today's story time all takes place when I was 17 years old. I was actually not in high school at this point. I was pursuing YouTube full time and kind of a little bit of a recluse. I feel like at this point in my life, when I was 17, for a couple of months at least, I was very much like reclusive, didn't really hang out with a lot of people, was just staying inside, grinding videos, that kind of stuff. And it was working pretty well for me, and I was enjoying myself. But something happened while I was in this period of my life, and I want to talk to you about it. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day when I was 17 years old. I was sitting in my room, working on a video, as I usually do with most of these stories, and I'm on my computer, working on this vid. I was editing some audio, and just getting a video ready for YouTube, right? Now at this point, I actually still lived with my mom because I wasn't 18 yet, and I couldn't move out. So I was in my room at my mom's house. Nobody was home. All my siblings were out. My mom was at work. And I'm just alone at my house editing this video. And all of a sudden, to the left of me, I see car headlights pulling into my driveway. Now, upon seeing this, I get a little bit nervous, right? Because I'm home alone. I didn't have anyone coming over, so I didn't expect people to pull into my driveway. So I look out the window, and it's a big SUV. And I see in the driver's seat an older guy. Probably looks like 40, maybe 50 years old. And he's alone. No one else is in the car. And he opens up his door and he gets out. And then he opens up his back door. And he proceeds to grab a metal pipe. Like a giant, rusty metal pipe. Now, I had two thoughts cross my mind when I saw this. Number one, the most practical and logical one, was probably, okay, he's probably just going to use the garbage container outside of my house. Because where I live, and I'm sure where most of you live, we have these garbage bins where you throw all your trash from your garbage cans into, and you have like a recycling bin, and at the end of the week, you bring them to the end of the street, and then the garbage people take them, and, you repeat. And I thought this guy was just going to throw away this metal pipe into my garbage can, because I've done that before, not with a metal pipe, but sometimes when I'm on the road and I have a drink that I finish and there's a big blue garbage bin at the end of someone's driveway, I'll just toss my drink in there. It's probably not the most polite thing to do without asking, but like, it's garbage, it all goes to the same place, so I didn't think it was a problem. So that's what I thought this guy was doing, right? I'm like, okay, he's just using my garbage to throw away this big pipe thing. But then he walks up to my porch and proceeds to start smacking my door with the pipe. To which I start having like a mini heart attack. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is angry and he's beating my door with a metal rusty pipe. And then he starts screaming. He's like, get the hell out of here right now. I know you're in there. I didn't even know what to think. I'm like, okay, this guy's either here to, one, beat me up, or two, this is all a prank, right? Like, I didn't even know. But I wasn't taking any chances, so I open up my phone and I dial 911. And they're like, 911, what's your emergency? I'm like, yeah, there's a guy here who I don't know who's beating my front door with a metal pipe trying to open it, and he's yelling that he knows I'm in here and that I should come out right now, and I assume he wants to hurt me. And the woman over the phone's like, okay, and you're sure you don't know this guy at all? I was like, nope, not at all. They go, okay, we have officers on the way, hang tight, do not open the door, and do not go near any windows where he can see you. I'm like, okay. So I'm like sitting there just in a corner of my room, freaking out, having a panic attack, and I can hear the sirens coming. They sound like they're maybe a couple streets over, like about to be there. But then I hear yelling out in the front yard, and it sounds like a woman's voice. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my mom. So I open up the blinds of my window, and I look out the window again, and I can see my mom and this guy yelling at each other. Like, I didn't even realize what time it was. My mom had just gotten home from work. And she's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Like, my son's in there? Who do you think you are coming to my property, damaging it with that pipe? Like, you better fucking stop. And he's like, your son hurt my son. And I'm like, wait, what? So I opened the window, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, who are you? And I was like, I'm her son. He goes, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am. Who are you? He's like, where's Jacob? I'm like, who the hell is Jacob? And he looks at me, and he looks at my mom all confused, and he goes, wait, what's the address here? And I give him the house number and the street, and he's like, oh, the house I'm looking for is a couple more down. I'm like, you didn't think to check the house number before you started beating my house up with a pipe? And then my mom chimes in. She's like, yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he goes, I'm so sorry. There's a boy at my son's school who beat him up with 3 other boys today. They jumped him, and they caught him from behind and sucker punched him, and he's only 15 years old, and the main boy that did it lives on this street. And as much as I felt horrible for his son, going to the bully's house with a weapon is not the answer. Not at all. No. I don't know what he planned on doing with that pipe. Hopefully it was all for show and he was just doing it to try and, scare one of the boys, because it sure as hell worked on me. But, like, even then, that's really messed up. Now, luckily, the cops pulled up a couple of seconds later, and they actually ended up arresting this guy because he was clearly a danger to the community. Like, he was literally hitting our house with a pipe, trying to break in, and then he admitted that he was at the wrong house. Definitely meaning that he was going to go to the right one and do it to them as well. So, yeah, the cops arrested him because they didn't want that to happen to anybody else and watch anyone get hurt with that pipe. So they arrested him, confiscated the weapon. They talked to us for a little bit as well. We gave them our side of the story. And the guy went to jail. Now, let me tell you, the whole rest of that day, like making the video and hanging out at my house the rest of that night, was so scary. I was like so on edge. I kept looking out my window thinking he was going to come back for some reason and like try and hurt me because he got arrested. Like, I really was worried. But he didn't because he was in jail and he couldn't. So that's good, I guess. And guess what? A couple days later, I was out taking my trash out, and the neighbor, 2 houses down, the one that was originally supposed to be the house he was at, she sees me, the mom, and she goes, hey, come here real quick, Austin. So I run over there. I was like, what's up? And she goes, how you holding up? Like, I heard about what happened the other day, and the police talked to me, and like, that guy was crazy, right? I was like, yeah, pretty crazy. She goes, yeah, like my son, he was messing with some kid at school, and he was here for revenge. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty messed up to show up to someone's house with a weapon. It was pretty scary. And she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you guys. Like, if you need anything, let me know. I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. And she's like, yeah, it's been a real rough couple days here. Like, my son was bullying some student, and I had to discipline him for that and, ground him. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm sure he knows now not to do that anymore, especially after all the crazy stuff that's happened. And she's like, yeah, definitely. And after that, I just went back to my house, and I never heard from that guy again. He never came back to our house, never came back to our street. So that's good. Believe it or not, he was actually not in jail for a very long time. He ended up bailing himself out, like, just a few days later. And I think his sentencing ended up with him on, like, probation or something. Like, he wasn't in jail for long at all. But I'm assuming he learned his lesson because he never came back, and I never heard anything about him again. So yeah, guys, moral of this story is, don't show up to people's houses and beat their doors with weapons. That is not okay. Violence is definitely not the answer. And yeah, that's that. Don't be like that guy, because you'll end up in jail like he did. But yeah, I just thought the story time was crazy. It was like one of the most crazy misunderstandings I've ever seen. And I'm glad it ended the way it did, because it could have ended way differently with people getting hurt and stuff. So I'm glad it ended the way it did. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So I hope you had a happy new year and a good holiday with your family or friends or whoever you celebrate with. I took a couple days off just to kind of hang out with family and stuff because everyone's on Christmas break. But I'm back now, resuming the daily uploads, and I got a pretty good one to tell you guys. Today's story time is about the fastest I've ever been expelled from school. Yeah. If anyone's been watching this channel for a while, or if you're new here, I'll just tell you. I've gone to quite a bit of schools throughout my school career, from middle to high school. I went to quite a few different schools. One, because I would just move around a lot, and two, because I wasn't the best kid, and I would sometimes get into trouble. And today's story time is about the fastest I've ever been expelled, so let's get into it. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day in 9th grade. My first day of 9th grade, to be specific. I haven't really told anybody about this, but I had to start 9th grade twice. I went to high school for 2 weeks and then got expelled and had to start 9th grade again at a different high school. So, yeah, anyway, let's get into this. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day. First day in 9th grade. I get up, I get out of bed, I take a shower, I get ready. I'm very nervous, right? First day of 9th grade for anybody is a pretty nervous day. It's your first day of high school. Pretty much everyone gets nervous about high school going into it. So I get to school, I grab my schedule, I go to my first period class, I sit down, and this guy sits next to me. Let's just call him Brian. Brian sits down next to me. He's like, "Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm Brian." I'm like, "Yeah, nice to meet you, man. I'm Austin." And me and Brian get to talking, and pretty quickly we realize we have a lot of similar interests, and he seems like a cool dude, right? And I feel a lot better, right? I'm like, okay, cool. High school is not going to be as bad as I thought. Like, I'm not unbearable to be around. There's people here that are cool. Because I feel like everybody, when they go into high school, thinks they're, like, not going to make friends. And, you know, making friends is obviously hard in any situation, whether it's school, work, anywhere in public. Meeting new people is hard, especially nowadays when the internet's so prevalent. But, like, it's possible. As long as you put yourself out there and you're being yourself, don't pretend to be anybody else to get someone to like you. That's just bullshit. Like, be yourself. You're fine just the way you are, and you'll be good. Anyway, yeah, I start talking to Brian. We talk for about 5 minutes before class starts, and the teacher comes in and we start first period. Now, after first period's over, me and Brian walk out of class together, and we check our schedules to see if we have second period together as well. And he's like, "Damn, man, we don't." I'm like, "Shit, it's all right. Well, I'll catch you at lunch." He's like, "Yeah, man, sit at our table." So fast forward to lunchtime. 4 periods later, lunch rolls around. I go up to the lunchroom. I walk in. I'm in the cafeteria looking for Brian. I see him. He waves me down. I walk over, and he's sitting at a table with like 3 guys and 2 girls. I sit down with them at this big table. He introduces me to everybody. I say hello. I start talking to some of these people. And I'm having a great time, right? These are all really cool people. I feel like they're just like me. We have a lot of similar interests. And it feels good to have found a friend group so fast, right? Little did I know I was about to lose that friend group because of that friend group. So one of the guys sitting at the lunch table, not Brian, a different guy, let's just call this guy Tyler, okay? Tyler speaks up and he's like, "Yo, I have a really good idea and I think we should all do it." And I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "So every year when a new group of freshmen come in, like whenever the new 9th grade class comes in, a prank is usually played on the school. It's like tradition at this school." And I had never heard about that before, right? Like going into this, I had no idea. And I'm like, "Really?" And even Brian was like, "Are you sure?" And Tyler's like, "Yeah, man, like my brother went here, my other brother went here, like they've all done it. This is not something that's new." So for some reason, I didn't really trust him about this. So after lunch, I started asking around, and I actually asked a couple of my teachers about it. And Tyler wasn't kidding. There was usually a prank that would get played at the beginning of every 9th grade year by the new students. However, one of my teachers told me that they stopped doing it recently, like the last couple of years it hasn't happened, because the last couple have been a little bit too serious. So I'm like, okay, that's fair. So I go back to Tyler the next day at lunch, and I was like, "Hey, man, you were right. I talked to a couple of my teachers, and like they've all said there's pranks and stuff, but they haven't done it recently because it got too serious." And Tyler was like, "Yeah, man, I know. I heard about that. But don't worry. What we're going to do isn't going to be that serious." So I was on board with this, right? I was totally on board with it. I'm like, yeah, a harmless prank on the school. Why not, right? What could go wrong? Yeah, I shouldn't have thought that. A lot could go wrong. So fast forward to the next week. This is my second week of high school at this point. We're at lunch, me, Tyler, Brian, a couple other guys, a couple other girls, and we're all talking about these pranks that we can do for 9th grade, right? We're talking about all the different pranks we can do. Everyone's giving suggestions. Everyone's kind of, putting in their 2 cents. Now, I didn't really have any ideas. I'm just kind of on board for the ride, so I'm just letting everyone else do the thinking. And Tyler comes up with this idea that sounded pretty harmless, right? He's like, yo, my dad works at a paint store. I know about this paint that doesn't stick, and it comes right off with a special solution. So we can just get this paint and paint the principal's car with it, or a teacher or something, or all the teachers even, and then we can just wash it right off after they think it's real. We could totally fuck with them. Now listen, I have never heard of this. I know there's a lot of different kinds of paint, so I'm sure it's not impossible to have a paint that comes off easier than others. I'm sure that exists. But who am I to judge, right? I'm like, this kid has a dad that works at a paint store. He knows more than me. He's probably telling the truth, right? So I went with it. And so did everybody else at the lunch table. 2 days later, Tyler comes in with this giant can of paint in his backpack with no label on it. And I asked him why there wasn't a label on it. I also asked him how he knows it's the correct type of paint if there's no label on it. He's like, man, you're worrying too much. Don't worry. My dad color coats everything. The blue bucket is the one that's easy to remove. This is the blue bucket. And he was right. It was a blue bucket. So I'm thinking it's good, right? I'm thinking it's all normal. I'm thinking we're going to have a normal, fun prank. I also asked Tyler before we started if he had that special solution that would remove it. And he holds up this green bottle and he's like, yep, this is it. Green bottle. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking we're good to go, right? So right after this, me and everybody from my lunch table, Tyler, Brian, the girls, the other guys, we all snuck out as quick as we could to the staff parking lot and found the principal's car. We knew it was the principal's car because she had this air freshener that literally had a photo of her on it. I don't know who gets a custom air freshener with their own picture on it, but she did. And we proceeded to get at it. Brian hands me the big can of paint and he goes, Austin, would you like to do the honors? And I take it off the top, and I just splatter a huge thing of this neon yellow paint all over the hood of the principal's car. I was the first one to do it. And right after that, everyone else took a turn. Everyone grabbed the can and just threw a big splatter on the car all over the place. The hood, the windshield, the doors, everything, right? And I wasn't thinking very straight. My 9th grade dumbass just thought, you know what? Tyler knew what he was talking about. We're fine. This paint's going to be easy to come off, right? So after we get done, the car is essentially covered in paint, almost completely covered. You pretty much couldn't figure out what the original color of the car was. There was so much new paint all over it, just splattered. So when we get done, we go back inside, and we go and get the principal. We walk up to their office, we go in there, we walk in her office, and we go, hey, principal, we got to show you something. And she goes, I'm a little busy right now, can I wait? And I'm like, no, it's an emergency. And I have a big smile on my face. And we take the principal out to the staff parking lot and show her what we did to her car. And she goes, oh my God, what did you guys do? And we're all laughing, right? Because we think it's a prank. It's a silly joke. And then Tyler opens his backpack and grabs the remover stuff, the solution to get it off, and puts it all over the hood and starts rubbing the paint. And it's not coming off. And I look at Tyler and I'm like, dude, come on. He goes, dude, I thought it would come off easier. And some of it was coming off, but not nearly as much as we thought it would, right? It also looked like it was stripping the paint of the actual car, too, underneath, the real paint color. It looked like that was coming off, too. So I just told him to stop. I'm like, dude, it's not working. He goes, no, hold on. And he keeps rubbing at it real hard, right? And it's just getting worse. It's smearing it everywhere. Some of it's coming off, but it's blending in with the other paint. It just looks like shit. It was very clear that whatever solution, this magical solution he had, did not work like he thought it did. So the principal ends up yelling at him to stop right away and then yells at all of us to get into the office. So we follow the principal into the office. She sits us all down and calls all of our parents and starts pulling up security footage of what happened. And on the security footage of the staff parking lot, guess who's the first person to throw paint on her car? Me. So guess who thinks that it's my idea and guess who blames me? The principal. She goes, Austin, did you have something to do with this? And I go, no. Well, yeah, I did, but it wasn't my idea. She goes, sure looks like it. And she turns the monitor around and shows me the security footage. And all I could do was sit there and just think to myself, Austin, you dumbass, why would you be the first one to throw the paint? And I look at Tyler and he looks at me with these guilty eyes, but he doesn't speak up. I was giving him the look of hey man, speak up. You're the one that had the idea. Come on. You're the one that had this whole plan. But he wouldn't speak up. And that was really shitty of him, because if I were him, I definitely would have spoke up and not let all of my friends take the fall for me. But yeah, he didn't. So Tyler's dad actually ends up being the first parent to arrive after she called all of our parents. And he walks in screaming. He's like, Tyler, what the fuck did you do? Why are you stealing my paint? What are you thinking? And Tyler goes, I'm sorry, Dad. Like, I thought that it was that special kind that gets removed really easy. He's like, it's just regular paint. That stuff you were putting on it was paint remover. You splattered way too much paint on her car, and you didn't have enough paint remover. You didn't have the right tools or the knowledge on how to remove it. And guess what? That paint remover you threw on there can screw up her original car's paint as well. So you probably did that too. So you probably vandalized her car in more than one way. Thanks. Now, after he says all this, I'm kind of relieved because him saying that kind of confirmed the principle that it was Tyler's dad's paint and that Tyler brought it to school, and Tyler ended up having more involvement than the principal thought, and it wasn't just all Austin's idea, like, you know, blaming me. But like 20 minutes later, all of our parents were there. They all showed up, and they were all in the room with us, and the principal was talking to all of them. And my mom didn't say a word to me. She just looked at me in pure disappointment the whole time because she was so mad and had nothing to say. But anyway, here's what ends up happening. After all of our parents arrived and they talked for a little bit, my principal ends up saying that she's going to get her insurance to cover it and that she's sure they will, and to not worry about the financial aspect of it, but she is going to have to lay out some punishments for all of the students that were involved. And my mom speaks up. She's like, yeah, that seems fair. And my principal goes, yep. All right, everyone here is expelled, effective immediately. Just no chill expels all of us right then and there. Everybody. And I look at Tyler and he looks at me, and then Brian looks at me, and we're all just looking at each other like, did we just get expelled in literally the first 2 weeks of school? And yeah, we did. And the parents were not happy about it, but they couldn't argue because the principal was in the right to expel us. We fucking put paint all over her car. And I felt terrible about it. I thought it was paint that would come right off. And honestly, I blame myself for not looking more into this and, you know, looking into paint types and seeing if that even existed, or if, you know, this Tyler kid really knew what he was talking about. Bottom line, if a 9th grader has a prank idea and it involves paint, which is usually a pretty permanent thing, just don't even fucking go with it. Just don't listen to him, because that's really stupid. Any prank idea that involves something permanent, you should just not do, because that's really dangerous. Anyway, yeah, we all got expelled. We walked out of the room after that, and my mom had to rearrange my school plans and send me to a different school a couple weeks later. And I had to pretty much restart 9th grade again. Luckily, it was still in the beginning of the year, so that was good. And I did make some more friends. And honestly, as much as this all sucked, it was kind of a good thing in disguise, because the newer school that I went to had a lot of better friends there, and I met a lot of cooler people I'm still friends with to this day. And yeah, so I guess everything happens for a reason, but that reason that I got expelled was really dumb, and I shouldn't have done it. Moral of this story is, don't do any of the things I did in this story time. That's simple. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace. Alright, so if you read the title of this video, you're probably like, Austin, you're a scumbag, dude. You robbed someone's house? Are you serious? Well, kinda. I'm gonna talk about it. So today's story time all takes place when I was 16 years old. Yeah, so quite a while ago. When I was 16 years old, I really didn't have much going on in my life besides doing YouTube, playing some video games, and hanging out with my friends. Which, now that I think about it, my life really isn't too different from when I was 16 years old to now. Except when I was 16, I was living with my parents, right? Now, my mom worked a pretty long job. She would go to work at like 6 in the morning and get home at like 9 at night. So she would literally be gone all day. So I pretty much had the house to myself almost every day. I did have brothers that I lived with, but they also worked normal jobs and were also hanging out with friends a lot. So most days after school, I would come home at 16 years old and just have the whole house to myself. So today's story time all starts off as a normal day in 16-year-old Luna's life. I woke up. It was a Friday. I was really excited because, you know, it was the weekend finally. So I get up out of bed, I shower, I get ready for school, and then after I'm all cleaned up, I go into the kitchen and I start snacking on a granola bar in the kitchen, just waiting for the bus to come. And my mom walks out into the kitchen, and she's getting ready for work. And she's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, nothing, just getting ready for school. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. She's like, did you see the calendar today? Now, my mom used to keep this calendar like on the fridge right up front for everyone in the kitchen to see, and it would kind of like tell everyone what they had to do that day. So like I'd look at it every morning and see if I had like appointments or something, or like something to do that day, like chores. And I look at the calendar and it says day off school. And I look at my mom and I'm like, wait, is that true? Do I have the day off today? She's like, yeah, it's a teacher meeting day. I was like, holy shit. And she's like, don't swear. I was like, my bad. But I was just so excited, dude, because I had the whole day off now, and I was already awake and ready for the day, and my mom was about to go to work, and it's the weekend. Like, all in all, I was feeling good. I'm sure you all know the feeling of, like, you know, when you get a snow day, or like when you have a day off of something and you didn't think you did. It's just the best, especially paired with the weekend and all this other shit that was happening. I was just happy, right? So my mom's like, yeah, you have off school. Anyway, I gotta go. Be good today. If you're gonna hang out with your friends or something, just let me know where you're going. Send me a text. I was like, okay, sounds good. So my mom heads out, and at this point, I pretty much have the house to myself. My one brother was home, but he was asleep, and he was going to work at like 9 a.m., so all day I pretty much had the whole day to do whatever I wanted. So immediately I start texting friends of mine, right? I'm like, yo, what's up? Want to hang out today? No one's hitting me back, because it's like 6 in the morning, almost 7, and no one's awake yet because they all knew that they had the day off and were going to sleep in. So I ended up going downstairs and was playing some Xbox for a couple hours to kill some time. And at like 9 or 10 a.m., my friend hits me up. And this friend of mine, let's just call him Zach. Zach was somebody I never really hung out with outside of school. He was mainly just like an in-school friend. But because it was the day off and I had nothing to do, I was just texting everybody, right? I was hitting everyone up, seeing what everyone was doing. And yeah, Zach hit me back first. And he's like, what's up, man? I just woke up. I was like, yo, you want to hang out today? He's like, bet, when? I was like, I don't know, an hour or two? He's like, yeah, I gotta ride my bike though. I don't have a ride. I was like, shit, okay. Want me to meet you halfway? He's like, yeah, for sure. So yeah, fast forward an hour, I jumped on my bike and Zach jumped on his, and we met halfway at a little convenience store right up the road. So yeah, I meet him at the store, and it was my first time hanging out with him outside of school, and that was the first thing I said. I was like, yo, what's up, man? Like, I literally never see you outside of school. He's like, yeah, man, it's good to finally hang out. I was like, for sure. And he's like, oh shit, man, that bike you got is crazy. Now, when I was 16, I didn't have a car yet or my license. So, you know, I was riding around on a BMX bike or a skateboard. Those were my two vehicles of choice. And yeah, on this day, I met Zach on my BMX bike. And it was this really cool one I got for Christmas the year before. Pretty nice BMX bike. And he pointed that out. And I was like, yo, man, thank you. I was like, yours is dope too. He's like, nah, man, mine's a piece of shit. I need something like yours. So anyway, fast forward a couple hours, me and Zach hang out at my house. We rode back to my place. We ended up hanging out pretty much the whole day, probably till about 7 at night. And at like 7:30, Zach's like, shit, man, I gotta go. I was like, bet, man, thanks for coming. He's like, yeah, no problem. I was like, do you need a ride or something? Like, if you need a ride, I could probably ask my mom to take you home when she gets back. He's like, nah, man, I got my brother coming to pick me up right now. I was like, sweet, sounds good. So like 10 minutes later, he told me his brother was in the driveway and then he had to go. I was like, all right, man, good seeing you. I slapped him up, said goodbye, and he left. Now, the whole rest of that night was pretty normal, right? Nothing out of the ordinary, didn't think much of it, thought it was just a good day, right? Well, the next morning rolls around, and this is really where the story starts getting good, right? I wake up, and I really want some food, right? I'm hungry, and I'm not craving, like, house food. I want some fast food. I want some shit that's not good for you, you know? That shit that 16-year-olds crave. So I got up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ride my bike to Burger King. So I go out in the garage, and I go to grab my bike, and it's just not there. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go out in the shed in the backyard. It's not in the shed either. So immediately I run back inside and I wake up my mom and I was like, Mom. She's like, what? I was like, where's my bike? She's like, I don't know. Where'd you last have it? Probably in the garage. I was like, it's not in there. She's like, okay. Did you check the shed in the backyard? I was like, yeah, I already did. She goes, okay. What about the side of the house? I was like, yeah, it's nowhere. She's like, well, it can't be nowhere. Go look harder. So I go back outside. I look around. It's not there. Now, at this point, I kind of knew what happened, but I didn't want to say it out loud because my mom would fucking kill me. I left my garage door open most of the day and night that I was hanging out with Zach, and I think someone stole my bike, right? So I'm freaking out. And I walk back in the house, and my mom's like, did you find your bike? I was like, yeah, I found it. She goes, oh, where was it? I was like, it was just deep in the garage. I didn't see it. She's like, oh, okay, good. Glad you found it. I was like, thank you. Now inside, I'm freaking out. Because my bike's really nice. My mom bought it for me for Christmas. She spent a good amount of money on it. I didn't want it to get stolen. That sucks. And I just feel like a fucking idiot because I left my garage door up the whole day and most of the night. And yeah, now it's gone, right? So I'm sad. I go lay down in bed. I'm just like getting on my phone, scrolling through social media, just upset. And I open up Facebook, right? And I'm scrolling through Facebook, seeing what people that I'm friends with are doing. And I come across a post from my friend Zach. And I shit you not, the post says, selling brand new BMX bike, $200, hit my line. Now, when I first saw this, I think, okay, he's probably selling his bike, right? And then I look in the replies, and our other friend, Christian, responds and says, can I see some photos? And then Zach responds with a photo of this bike. And you want to guess whose fucking bike it is? Because it's not Zach's. Yeah, dude, he stole my fucking bike. Now, I am fucking furious at this point, because a friend of mine, someone that I hung out with all day the day before and had a great time with, was just using me to steal my shit. So I'm pissed, right? And I respond to his post, and I was like, yo, that bike you're selling looks really familiar. Can I have it back? And he immediately blocks me on Facebook. Just like a minute later, post disappears, profile disappears, gone. And I'm mad. I'm like, all right, what do? I can't tell my mom because she'll fucking kill me, even though I probably should have just told her. She definitely would not have killed me. She probably just would have been angry and then like gotten over it in a minute and just tried to get my bike back for me. But me being a 16-year-old just dumbass kid, I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking steal it back. So if I was going to steal my bike back, I couldn't do it alone, right? So I run upstairs and knock on the door of somebody I know would help me with something like this. My older brother. So I go up there, I knock on his door. My brother answers. He's like, what's up, man? I was like, listen, I need your help. He's like, with what? I was like, can I talk to you inside for a sec? He's like, sure. So he lets me in his room. He shuts the door. I was like, listen, my bike got stolen. That Zach kid that was over here yesterday, he stole my bike. I think his older brother helped him. Now I need your help. He's like, all right, slow down. Step by step, walk me through what happened. I was like, okay, listen, I had Zach come over, and when he left and his brother came and picked him up, the next morning my bike was gone. So I think him and his brother stole my bike and put it in the car and left. And my brother's like, okay, so what do you need my help for? I was like, I want to steal it back. Can you help me do that? He's like, you want me to help you steal your bike back from your friend and his brother? I was like, yes. He's like, dude, if we get caught and like the police show up and your friend tries to say that it's his bike and that we're stealing it, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. You know that, right? I was like, yeah, that's why we don't get caught. He's like, all right, man, let's do it. So we leave, we get in my brother's car, and we start going towards Zach's house. Now, I didn't know Zach's exact address, but I knew where he lived because he told me one time in school that he lived right across the street from this pizza place that everyone used to go to at school. So I knew that if I just went to this pizza place and looked directly across the street, it was Zach's house there. So we get to the pizza place, we pull in the parking lot, I look across the street, and Zach's house is there. And I know it's Zach's because I could see his bike on the front porch. Not my bike, I see Zach's bike on the front porch. He had my bike inside or something because he knew that my shit was cooler than his. That's probably not the reason, but he probably knew I was looking for it, so maybe that's why he had it inside. So I tiptoe over across the street with my brother to Zach's house, and we're like walking around real quietly, trying to see where my bike is, seeing if it's on the side of the house, seeing if it's in the backyard, and I don't see it anywhere on the outside of the house, right? So then I walk up to the back door, the back garage door, and I peek through the window, and I can see in the garage my bike, sitting there in all of its glory, waiting to be taken back by its rightful owner. And I go to open his back garage door, and of course, it's fucking locked. And I was like, damn it. Now, I'm 16 years old, I'm angry, I'm fucking pissed, and I'm not thinking straight. So I pick up a rock, right? And I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna break this window on this door and just unlock the door from the inside. And my brother sees me picking up this rock, right? He's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, dude? I was like, I'm gonna break the window and just go grab it quick and get out of here. He's like, are you stupid? The whole point of this is to not get caught. We're not doing that. Like, there's cars out front, bro. Like, people are probably in that house. If you break that window, they're gonna come looking for you, and who knows what they'll do to you if they see you in the garage. I'm like, okay, you have a better idea? He's like, yeah, I do. Follow me. So he takes me around the side of the garage, right? And there's a window. And it's a pretty high up window, right? Like, I couldn't reach it. My brother couldn't reach it. Like, you would definitely need a ladder to reach this window, right? So I look at my brother, and me being the smart ass that I am, I was like, dude, great job. A window that we can't reach. He's like, hey, dumbass, I'm gonna lift you up, and you're gonna fucking reach it and see if it's unlocked, idiot. I was like, oh, okay. So he gets down, I step on his hands, he lifts me up to the window, I check if it's unlocked, and guess what? This shit was unlocked. So yeah, I popped the window open, and I looked down at my brother, and I was like, yo, I'm in. He's like, okay, so what you want to do, man, is you want to hang and drop. Hang and drop down so you don't make much noise, and you get in there quietly. Once you're in, get your bike and walk it out the back garage door, the one that we were just trying to unlock. Unlock it, walk it out of there, do it quietly, and you should be fine. Whatever you do, do not open the main garage door. You know, the one that goes up to let in cars. Don't open that. It's too loud. It'll just ruin everything. I'm like, okay. He's like, all right, good luck. Now, let me say, we were whispering this whole time. I was not talking as loud as I was in this story, or as loud as he was in this story. He was being very quiet. We were being dead silent, because we knew one loud word, and they could come out of the house and, try and fight us, or worse. So, I open the window, I do what my brother said, I hang down and I drop, and luckily, the garage was very clean, so I didn't knock anything down on the way down, and there wasn't anything on the floor for me to hit, so I was very quiet, and I grab my bike, I walk it up to the back door, I slowly unlock the door, it clicks, I open it real quietly, it's a super creaky, annoying door, but I get it open, and I start walking the bike out. And I get the bike out, I quietly close the door, and after that, me and my brother, as fast as we can, run around the side of the house, across the street to my brother's car, and we load the bike into his car, and we both jump in the car, my brother turns the car on, and we start pulling out and leaving. And I explode with just pure adrenaline and like, holy shit, did that just happen? And we start pulling out of this parking lot and leaving, and all of a sudden, out the front door, I see Zach walking out of his house, grabbing his bike to go somewhere. And I point him out. I'm like, yo, that's the kid that stole my bike. And my brother goes, oh shit, really? I was like, yeah, man, that's him. And my brother's like, okay, cool, let's have some fun. So my brother immediately does a U-turn so that we're pulling up behind Zach, right? And he rolls all the windows down, and he slams on his horn, and I hang out the window, and I just throw my finger up, my middle finger, right in Zach's fucking face. And Zach looked at me with just a face of many things, like confusion, like scared, also just like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I sat back down, and me and my brother drove off. And yeah, I went back down to my house, me and my brother did, got my bike unloaded, put it in the garage, and it was like nothing ever happened. And guess what? Later that night, I get a message from Zach on Facebook. He unblocked me, and he goes, this isn't over. That's what he said. He said, this isn't over. To which I replied and said, go fuck yourself. Real politely. Now, unfortunately, this wasn't the end of Zach's bullshit. A couple of weeks later, he did try something, but that's for another story. Maybe I'll tell that tomorrow. Let me know if you guys want that. But yeah, guys, overall, yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So, thank you for all the support on yesterday's story, and I mentioned at the end of that story that there was a part 2, and if you guys wanted it, that let me know, and I'll do it. And you guys seem to want it, so I'm going to tell the part 2 today. Today's story time is directly related to the last one. I'll link it first, link in the description. Watch that first. And yeah, let's get into this. So today's story time takes place exactly 2 weeks after the last story time did. Now, my friend Zach, well, now ex-friend Zach, wasn't very happy with me because I stole my bike back from him, and he couldn't sell it for money and make money off it. So yeah, needless to say, Zach was very pissed, and he was seeking revenge on me because I fucked him over back, and he was not happy about it. So he sent me a message on Facebook. This is where I left off at the last story time. He sent me a message saying, this isn't over, and I said, go fuck yourself. And yeah, I was very much on edge for the next 2 weeks. Very, very, like, just, looking over my shoulder all the time, seeing if he was there, because I didn't know what he had planned. I didn't know if he was going to try and rob me again. I didn't know if he was going to try and, like, beat me up or something, I don't know. So I was nervous. So about 2 weeks go by, and now I'm not that nervous anymore, right? 2 weeks had passed since the incident, and I was thinking that, Zach was just all talk. He wasn't going to do anything. But of course, he did something. As soon as I let my guard down, he does something. So 2 weeks after the incident, I was sitting in my room. I'm watching Netflix, just, relaxing in the living room. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. I want food. So I hadn't left my house by myself in 2 weeks because I was really nervous that Zach was going to, try and jump me or some shit. I just didn't trust him. Even at school, I would, purposely avoid him in the halls because, I didn't know what he had planned. But I was really hungry and I wanted some fast food, so I got on my bike and I left my house by myself. Didn't think much of it. I was like, you know what? Zach's not going to do anything. I'm just tripping for no reason. I'm going to go get some food. So I get on my bike, the bike that I stole back from Zach, and I leave my house. And I go towards this burger restaurant up the street. It was about 1.5 miles away, very short bike ride. And I go up there, I park my bike outside, I lock it with the bike lock, at the little parking station there. I go inside, I eat for about like 30, 45 minutes, I leave, and I start biking home, right? Now, everything about this little journey to get food was almost perfect, almost, problem-free. But of course, on the way back, Zach had to come along. I was about a mile into my bike ride home, literally down the street from my house pretty much. Like, I was one road away, and I hear a car slowing down behind me. I don't know how the timing was so unlucky, but it was. The car that pulls up behind me was Zach's brother's, and Zach was in the passenger seat, Zach's friend was in the back seat, and Zach's brother was driving. And they stop the car, they put their hazards on, and they get out, and they surround me. And that was it. I thought I was dead. I was like, oh, this is it. Like, they're going to beat the shit out of me. Like, I'm going to get jumped here, and my bike's going to get stolen again. Like, this is it. And Zach starts talking. He's like, oh, perfect. Like, we were just going to your house. How convenient that you're out on the street for us. And I was like, what do you want, dude? He's like, I want my bike back. I was like, your bike? This shit's mine, dude. You fucking stole it. It's my bike. No, you're not getting it back. And he goes, what did I tell you? I told you this shit wasn't over. And I was like, cool. You trying to sound like a villain or something? Like, yeah, okay, you got me. What do you want? He was like, you know what I want. Give me the fucking bike and make this easy. If you don't give it to us, we're just going to take it from you. And you won't like that option. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not giving it to you. And they start surrounding me closer. Like, they all kind of move in on me. And I look at Zach's brother. And Zach's brother is like 18 or 19 years old. I'm a minor still. Like, if this dude punches me, he goes to fucking jail. So I look at him and I'm like, are you really about to hit me? I was like, you really want to jump me with your little brother? Because, like, if you hit me, you go to jail. You know that, right? And he goes, I can't go to jail if you can't talk. And in my head, I'm like, holy shit, that's evil. Like, that is a horrible thing to say. Like, he's just basically, saying that he's going to punch my fucking teeth out. But I can't lie. Inside, I am completely shitting myself. Like, I am absolutely terrified because I'm about to get my ass beat, and it's going to be by 3 people. Zach, Zach's friend who I'd never seen before, and Zach's older brother. And it was not a fair fight. They were all taller than me at the time because I was still a kid and, like, not even done with puberty. And also all older than me. I can't speak for Zach's friend, but he was definitely taller than me and looked older than me. But yeah, Zach was older than me by a little bit, and Zach's brother was way older than I was. So not a fair fight in the slightest. Even if they were my age, 3v1 is not fair. So I just try and, like, make peace. I'm like, look, guys, like, I'm not trying to continue this. Like, can we just go our separate ways and, like, not talk to each other anymore? And, like, I keep my bike, and you guys, I won't snitch on you or anything. You can just go your separate way, and we'll just be good. And I was stuttering like a motherfucker because I was a little bit nervous. And Zach steps up to me and he goes, no, we can't do that. I want your bike. I want it now. Hand it over, or we're taking it from you and jumping you. So, your choice. So, me being a stupid kid, I decide to run. Yeah, dude, I was standing there with my bike next to me. I jumped on the pedals and I took off as fast as I possibly could, riding as fast as I could away from them. And I almost fucked up. Like, taking off on the bike, it took me a second to get some speed. So when they took off running at me, they pretty much had me in their range of grasp. And Zach's brother went to dive and grab the seat to stop me. And he missed, and he fell. And when he fell, Zach kind of tripped over him. And they basically just fucked each other up and gave me a moment of time to get some speed going. It was the luckiest thing in the world. So I get going pretty fast after this. They get up, they're chasing me, they're right behind me. I had a little bit of a head start because they tripped, but still, they were not anywhere far away from me. They were very close. And I'm going as fast as I can back to my house, and they're chasing me on foot. And they give up about halfway through and run back to their car because, they figured if they went back to the car, they could chase me a lot easier. And the time it took them to run back to their car, I biked as fast as I possibly could down my neighborhood road into my house. I made it to my house without them behind me. I get inside, I lock all the doors, I lock all the windows as fast as I can. And just as I lock the last door, I hear banging on my front door. And I look in the driveway, and there they are, parked up, posted up in my driveway, slamming on my front door, yelling at me to come out. Now, thank fuck my brother was home, the same brother that helped me steal my bike back. And he comes out, and he's like, yo, who's banging on the door? I was like, it's the people we took my bike back from. He's like, what? They're here? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, hold on a second. So he goes up to the door, and he unlocks the actual, lock on the door, but leaves the chain part locked, so it opened just a crack, but not all the way. And he speaks to them through it. He's like, what do you guys want? And the brother comes up to my brother, and they're both pretty much the same age. And he goes, your little brother stole something from mine. We need it back. And then my brother speaks up. He's like, actually, your little brother stole something from mine, and we took it back because it was rightfully ours. So why don't you leave my property and we go our separate ways? Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And Zach's brother gets real close to the door and starts yelling through it. He's like, I'm not fucking going anywhere. Give me that fucking bike. And he's trying to push through the door. But, there's still a lock on it, so it doesn't open all the way. And my brother just slams the door shut and locks it again so that it can't be opened. And I'm sitting there looking at him, and he's looking at me. And he's like, you know what? I have an idea. Follow me. So I follow my brother into the garage, and in the garage, we had this box of pool stuff, like floaties and squirt guns and like pool chemicals and stuff for like treating the pool. And my brother opens it and pulls out 2 of these giant squirt guns. And he's like, you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, you want to spray them with water? He goes, nah, even better. Let's spray them with maple syrup. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man. I was like, okay, why not? Now, I don't know if you have ever gotten that shit on your hands. I'm sure you have if you've ever eaten pancakes or waffles, but that shit's really sticky and it takes like 2 washes to come off. So, yeah, I don't know. I was like, fuck it. I'll go with my brother on this one. Let's do it. So we filled these 2 little squirt guns with fucking pancake syrup, and we opened the kitchen window that looks out onto our porch, and we just start spraying these fucking dudes with maple syrup. And I will always remember, like it's yesterday, Zach's older brother's reaction. He goes, what the fuck is this shit? And he starts screaming like a little fucking girl. He starts screaming. He's like, ah, ah, ah. He was making it sound like we were spraying acid on him or something. It was literally just pancake syrup. And of course, Zach starts freaking out too, and so does his friend. And they run away real fast. They were not standing there for long to put up a fight. They ran away after like a few seconds of getting sprayed by this shit. And they run away out of sight, and they did not come back. Needless to say, we won the war. Like, we won the battle and the war. I got my bike back, and they got doused in fucking sticky-ass maple syrup, and they never came back. And yeah, they were gone. Didn't see them again, and me and my brother had some amazing laughs, to say the least. But yeah, guys, moral of the story is, if someone comes banging at your door threatening to hurt you or something, probably should just call the cops. Don't spray them with a squirt gun full of maple syrup like I did, because that's pretty stupid. But luckily, in my situation, it worked. But I got very lucky, so if you're ever in a situation like that, just call the cops and let them handle it. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. I thought it was a pretty crazy one and a pretty good part too. So if you enjoyed this, leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
No, it won't change. Try to show love, you a fake ass bitch. If you wanna pull up, we can fade that shit. Look, don't touch, yeah, I hate that shit. Heard you got a new song, never played that shit.
Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So, today's video is a pretty crazy one, pretty scary story. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's definitely some crazy shit. Before I get into it, I just want to say my voice is a little bit better today. I went to the doctor, and they put me on steroids, so my throat doesn't hurt as much, so I can talk kind of normal, and that's cool. Also, they're not the kind of steroids that, like, make you all yoked and shit in the gym. It's just ones that make inflammation better, so yeah, I'm not going to be buff in 2 weeks. I'm still a fucking twig. But yeah, guys, today's story time is about a very crazy night, a very scary one, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place in 2017. I was sitting in my house on my computer, scrolling through Twitter, just bored out of my mind, and I texted one of my friends because I wanted something to do, and no one was hitting me up. So I hit one of my friends up, and I was like, yo, please tell me something's going on tonight because I am so bored. He's like, yeah, my sister's actually having a party, but I don't know if that's your scene or not. Like, I don't think I'm going to even go. And I was like, honestly, man, I'll do anything at this point, so I'm down. He's like, all right, man, if you go, I'll go. I'm like, bet, let's do it. So I went to my friend's house, and we just essentially crashed his sister's party. Like, we just went there and hung out with all of her friends. She was like 2 years older than us, so it wasn't like there was some huge age difference, and we like couldn't get along with them. They were pretty much the same people that we hung around at school anyway. So I ended up hanging out at this party for like 4 hours straight, just having fun. It was actually a pretty cool party. Plus, I knew a lot of the people there, so yeah, it was a good time, right? Now, fast forward to me leaving. So I say goodbye to my friend, the one that invited me over. I say goodbye to his sister. I told her thank you for the party. I had fun. And after this, I walk out and I call an Uber. Now this is really where the story time begins. So I'm sitting outside on my friend's little bench in his front yard, and I'm just waiting for this Uber to pull up. Now the Uber app was telling me that my driver was going to be a girl and that she was going to pull up in an SUV. So I'm just sitting here waiting for this SUV to pull up. It's like 2 minutes away. And finally, after a couple minutes, I see headlights coming down the neighborhood road, right? And I think it's the Uber because it's getting closer on the app as well. And this car pulls up, and it's not an SUV. It's just a regular, like, 4-door car just sitting there out front. And I walk up to the window, and the window rolls down, and it's this really jacked dude not wearing a shirt. And he goes, "You Austin?" I was like, "Yeah, are you the Uber?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Shit, my bad. Like, the app says something different, so I didn't know it was you." He's like, "It's all good." So I get in the car, right? And already, kind of sketchy, right? Like, different car, different driver. Dude wasn't wearing a shirt. Thought that was kind of odd, but whatever. I don't judge. So I get in the car, I get in the back seat, and we take off to the destination. At least I thought we were. And after like 15 minutes, we're still not there, right? Which is weird because I only live 5 minutes from this person's house. So I open up the app to check and see where we're going. And we are literally going in the opposite direction from my house. Now, this guy was kind of scary looking, and he didn't look like the type of person that wanted to be, like, questioned. So I just didn't say anything. I thought maybe he took a wrong turn and he would reroute us in a minute. But another couple minutes goes by, and we're still going in the wrong direction. So I speak up. I'm like, "Hey, man, like, not trying to be a dick, but, like, I think we're going the wrong way. My house is back there," and I told him what area it was in. He's like, "Yeah, my bad, just taking a quick detour." I was like, "What kind of detour?" Because, you know, a detour means he's stopping somewhere and, like, you know, doing something. I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." Now I start getting scared, right? Like, what the fuck do you mean, don't worry about it? Like, I'm in the backseat of this dude's car. I thought he was just some Uber driver taking me to my fucking house, but he's driving me on some weird detour and he's not telling me where we're going. So I speak up again. I was like, "Sir, what do you mean, don't worry about it? Like, where are we going?" He's like, "Dude, just let me fucking drive." I was like, "Dude, drive all you want. Just please drive me home. I don't feel comfortable, like, going to some random place. I don't know where we're going. Can you just tell me where we're going?" He's like, "No, it's not your business." And I'm like, okay, this has to be a fucking joke. And he just completely ignores me, right? So at this point, I'm scared. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what this dude's intentions are. And right as I'm about to start talking again and asking more questions, his phone starts ringing. And he pulls open his phone, and he answers it. And he goes, "Hello?" And he goes, "Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, I just picked him up. Yeah, I got him." Now at this point, I'm like, wait, what? Did I just hear that correctly? And then he goes, "Yeah, we'll be there soon," and then hangs up. Now I'm really pissing myself, right? Because he has plans to take me somewhere. He said, "Yeah, I just picked him up. We'll be there soon." Like, what the fuck, dude? And also, when he hung up the phone, I could kind of see the number on his home screen, and the phone number had the same area code as where I lived, meaning it was a local number, and he was talking to somebody that lived nearby. So it's not like he was on the phone with Uber or something. Like, he was on the phone with a local person. Like, it wasn't Uber because they call from a different area code. So I'm freaking out, right? Like, this guy essentially kidnapped me. We're going the opposite way of my house. At this point, we're 20, 25 minutes away from my house. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere at this point. Like, literally nothing around us besides trees and a house here and there. Like, we're way out of the city now. And I don't know where we're going. All I know is someone's waiting for us because he just got off the phone with someone that was asking about where we were. And we're going like 60 miles an hour on these back roads. The good news is he actually didn't lock the doors when I got in the car, so I could open the door and get out. Problem was, we were going 60, which means if I open the door and jump out, I'm probably going to get seriously hurt or worse. So I can't do that, right? At least not yet. And I am just sitting in the back seat, terrified, wondering if we're ever going to slow down so I can just jump out. Like, all I wanted him to do was slow down to like 20 miles an hour, maybe even 30, and I was just going to try and jump out and roll. That's how fucking scared I was, dude. I didn't know where I was going to end up or what was going to happen to me, so I was freaking out. Now, after about another 5 minutes of driving, we come up to a red light, and he's forced to start slowing down. And before the car was even stopped, I swing my back door open, and he turns around and screams, "Hey, stop!" And he grabs my shirt. Like, he literally grabs me and tries to stop me. And I dive out of the back seat, and it completely rips the back of my shirt because I was not letting him stop me. I just dove for it and ripped my shirt. And yeah, I fell down into the road. Luckily, he wasn't going fast. He was almost stopped when I jumped out. So even though we were still moving, we were only going like 10 miles an hour. So I fell down, I rolled a little bit, scraped up my arms, got up, and ran as fast as I could with my phone in my hand into the woods nearby and just did not look back. I ran so fucking fast, probably the fastest I've ever ran in my life because it felt like my life depended on it. And yeah, I ended up running like an entire mile through this forest. I got to the other side. I got out. I was in this neighborhood at this point. The car was nowhere to be found. The guy was gone. He didn't follow me. He didn't chase me as far as I know. So I immediately opened my phone and I called the fucking cops because I didn't know what else to do, right? I didn't know who else to turn to. Like, I just didn't know. So I called the cops, told them everything that happened. They asked me if I had a name or a license plate. I told them no because the car wasn't the same one on the Uber app. But I gave them the car description of like what it looked like and what the guy looked like. And they said they'd send people out to go look for him and they'd have someone come meet me. And yeah, like 15 minutes later, the cops pulled up and I was talking to one of the officers. I filed a report. Basically just told him all the same shit I told the person on the phone. And I also like showed him the Uber app and like what the profile looked like of the person. And they took that down. And I also filed a report with Uber, right? So fast forward like an hour later, I get back to my house. The police officer was nice enough to give me a ride home. He told me he'd let me know if anything pops up, if they find him, and they get any more details. I say thank you. And I'm just sitting in my house in complete shock that I made it home alive, right? Because I literally thought that like I was just going to get fucking captured or something. It was crazy. And the next morning rolls around and I get a call from the cops at like 8 a.m. I wake up to my phone ringing and I answer it. I'm like, hello? And it was the same cop I had just seen a few hours ago before I went to bed. He was probably still on his shift. He's like, good news. We got him. I was like, wait, really? He's like, yeah. And we also found a bunch of stuff in his trunk that was not legal. And he starts telling me about all the shit they found, right? He's like listing it all off. Tells me they found weapons in his car, a bunch of other stuff like pills and shit like that. And when he's telling me this, I'm just getting more scared. I'm like, yo, I was in this dude's car and he wasn't telling me where we were going. And we were driving out in the middle of nowhere. Like, was this dude about to like straight unalive me? Like, what the fuck? And then the cop tells me, yeah, he also told me the story of what happened with you and why he had you in his car. And I was like, yeah, what did he say? So apparently, this is the guy's story, and I don't know if I believe it, but apparently, the dude was taking me to a drug deal. Yeah, he was about to go and pick up a bunch of fucking pills, and he didn't want to be alone when he did it so that he had a lower chance of getting robbed. And that person he was on the phone with was apparently the dealer he was going to. So yeah, this dude was going to pick up more drugs, even though he already had drugs in his car, and he wanted to not be alone, so he took an Uber rider with him, thinking that would be a good idea, when it's really just like kidnapping. Now honestly, I can't lie, it sounds like a believable story. I wouldn't like doubt it that was true, but that's still fucking wrong and illegal and horrible to put a random person through that's just trying to go home. So yeah, needless to say, he got charged for the drugs in his car, the weapons. Oh, and also I forgot to mention another thing he got in trouble for is he didn't have a license plate on his car. Not in the front, not in the back. I didn't notice that when I got in the car because I just never check. Now I check every time. But yeah, I didn't check back then. And I also didn't see it when I ran away because I just didn't look at his car at all. I was gone. But yeah, he got charged for a lot of things. He got charged for the drugs in his car. He had 2 pistols that were unregistered. Got charged for those. Everything surrounding me he got in trouble for as well. Also, his girlfriend got banned for Uber and she got in trouble as well because she was letting him use his Uber account to do this shit. She claims that she had no idea that he was going to do that with me in the car and like try and go buy drugs. Like she had no idea apparently, but still she let him use her account to try and make some extra money. So she got in trouble with Uber and banned. The cops talked to her about it as well. But yeah, all in all, dude got in a bunch of trouble. He went to jail for a couple of years. I believe he's out now, which kind of scares me to think about, but I think if anything was going to happen, it would have happened by now, and I don't think he's after me or anything like that. I think he's just a fucking idiot that mixed me up with some shit that I didn't want to be mixed up with. And yeah, he learned his lesson, but that's pretty much it. I didn't take Uber for a long time after that because I was fucking terrified. And now whenever I do take one, I check the plates, I make sure it's the same person, and Hey, what's up guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. Now in today's story, I'm telling you guys about something that I've never really talked about before. So, I might have mentioned this maybe once or twice, but when I was younger, I always thought I was so cool online. Like for some reason, when I was like between the age of probably like I'd say 12 and 15, I always wanted to be like some cool like scary hacker nerd online. I thought that was a cool persona to have, like a scary hacker. So I acted like I knew shit and I would talk shit to people online and be like, yeah, don't talk shit to me or I'll hack your account. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything deep down, okay? And you know what they'd say? I'd get into some Gears of War game, and my voice was like higher than Wiz Khalifa, and everyone would make fun of me for it. And I'd tell them to shut the fuck up and stop telling me that they had sex with my mom or else I'd hack them. And they'd be like, nah, shut up, I still fucked your mom. And then they'd be like, what are you gonna do about it? You gonna hack me? And then, of course, I was harmless, and I couldn't hack anybody because I had no idea how. And I wasn't about that life, so I just had to sit there and just be shit-talked. So anyway, now that that's over with, okay, on to the story. Around this period where I thought I was like some cool, spooky hacker, I did something that was really fucking stupid when I was like 14, okay? So in middle school, in English class for like 2 weeks, we were up in the library working on a project. And all the project is after we read a book, we had to like try and put ourselves in the character's shoes and like make a slideshow about what we would do if we were that character. So I was up there, and of course, being me, I was dicking around completely and barely working on it. Like, I remember specifically at one point throughout the week, my teacher would walk by and like do a scan of everyone's computer screens, like look at everyone's screen and make sure they're on task. And I waited until she got close to me, and I opened up Microsoft PowerPoint really quick, or whatever the fuck it's called, to make slideshows. And I just pasted the word mayonnaise like 400 times. That way she'd think I was like writing a bunch of stuff and doing my project. And yeah, she walked by and she was like, good job, Austin, keep going. And it's just like, how fucking bad are you at your job? Like, literally, you're an English teacher and you didn't even read. So, yeah, I did that a couple times actually in other classes too, and usually it would always work. But anyway, she walked by and thought I was doing my project, and right after she walked away, I just went back to looking on Twitter and just looking at random memes and stuff on the internet, being an idiot. And towards the end of the class, I ended up getting up and going to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom, took way longer than I needed to because I just didn't want to be in class. And I got back to the library right as the bell was ringing, so people were leaving. So I walk over to my computer, I log it off, I close everything out, and I grab my backpack, and I just basically get all my stuff. And I realize, like, almost everyone's pretty much gone, including the teacher, and she left her computer logged on. Now, the way our computers were set up was students got a student account to sign into, and teachers and staff and stuff got an admin account. And with an admin account, you can access any website you want that's blocked by the school usually for students. You can look at other students' projects and stuff like that, and basically you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted. So I go over to her computer because pretty much everyone's gone at this point, besides like 2 of my friends, and they start laughing because they see me sit down and they know I'm up to something. And I'm like, hold on, be quiet. And I open her files and I click on the student drive. And the student drive is where everything is. It's basically just files on files of people's projects and stuff like that that they work on the computers. So I open up our classroom's file, and I was looking at all the folders with students' names on it, and it's pretty much all their projects and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a hacker. I'm going to go into all their stuff and put hacked by a fake name and put funny photos all over their projects. So I did. My dumbass literally went through every single student's PowerPoint that we were working on in our class, including my own, even though I had like nothing done. And I put on every single project a bunch of stupid memes, like the most unfunny things you could think of. For example, I put the fucking Doge on people's projects. Like, I just plastered the Doge photo all over it. Yeah, the Doge. You know that meme from like 6 years ago that wasn't really that funny at all? It was just a dog smiling. Don't get me wrong, that dog is dope as shit. But like, that just goes to show how immature I was back then. I thought it was funny to put hacked and put Doges all over people's projects. Yeah, Doge memes. That was my brain when I was 14. But yeah, and that's not even the worst part. I couldn't think of a good fake name to use, like a good hacker name. So I put hacked by the Muffin Man on every single one. The fucking Muffin Man. The Muffin Man. Like, that's not even funny or like cool. How does that sound badass? Yeah, I'm the Muffin Man, bro. I hack people. Yeah, I hack people. I'm the Muffin Man. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But I do this, and all my friends are laughing their asses off, and I'm laughing. And I go through everyone's PowerPoint and do it. And I log off, and I just think I'm so cool. Because I'm like, yeah, tomorrow when we come in, everyone's projects get opened, they're all going to be so confused, including the teacher, because the teacher had like a sample project she was using that she made herself, and I did that one too. So the next day when she'd have to pull up her like example onto the big TV in the library, everyone would see the Doge and the hacked by the Muffin Man thing. And I just thought I was so funny, right? And like so cool. Even though I literally did no hacking whatsoever. Like, my teacher literally just left on her computer and I went over to it and opened up people's projects. So yeah, after this, I logged off her computer, and I left and went to my next class, and then I just went on with my day. Then the next day came along, and this is where it gets interesting. I go to the class, English, and I get in first because I want to see everyone's reaction. So I was the first person in the classroom besides my teacher, and that already looks suspicious enough. Like, I was never first to class. I was always either last or, like, second to last. So I sit down at my station, and I log on, and I just start looking at Twitter, and I'm waiting for people to come in. And my teacher was just situating some papers on the front desk and not even logged on to the computer yet, so she didn't even know yet. And then everyone starts coming in, and she gets on her computer and logs on and pulls up, like, the example project or whatever and drags it onto the front big TV thing. And immediately I just see the giant Doge head with words under it written in Times New Roman font that says, "Hacked by the Muffin Man." And she looks so confused and just doesn't say anything. And people start logging on their computers, and they're all seeing it too. And they're all just like, what? Like, what is this on my project? Like, who's the Muffin Man? Why is there a Doge on my front screen? And my teacher deletes the Doge photo off her example project, and she deletes the text, and she leaves it up on the screen how it was before. And she yells out to the class, she's like, "Guys, this isn't funny. Did any of you guys do this?" And no one says anything. And I'm just sitting there with that smirk on my face. I'm like, yeah, I'm so badass. Like, totally trolled her. And then she just goes, "Well, okay, maybe none of you did do it, but we'll figure it out. Just continue working on your projects, delete anything out of the ordinary that wasn't there before." And yeah, everyone just continues on their projects and deletes the photos of the Doges and the text, and everything was pretty much back to normal. And I'm just sitting there smirking like, yeah, I totally showed them. Like, I'm so badass. That was so cool. And my friends were laughing too. But deep down, I kind of knew, like, I'm a total fucking dork for that. Like, that was not funny at all. I literally put some corny-ass meme on people's projects, and they just deleted it with one hit of the key, and no one even cared. But this story picks up, don't worry. I know some of you might be sitting there thinking, like, what is this story? Like, this isn't even funny, dude. Come on. Like, Doge memes? Oh, give it a minute. Just wait. It gets better. So, after this, the day went on pretty normal. I ended up going home, played some Xbox, fell asleep early. And then the next day came along, okay? And when I walked into school, I went to my first period, and I sat down, and immediately I hear the announcements come on and call me up to the office. And I knew I was fucked. I was like, great. I got caught. There's no way they're calling me up to the office for anything other than catching me for messing with people's projects the other day. And I was like, oh no, like, oh no. So I go up there to the office, I walk in, I check in, and I'm waiting. And my principal comes out, and she's like, "Hey, Austin, come into my office." And I follow her in, and I see my teacher there, my English teacher. And my principal sits down, and they're both just looking at me. And I'm like, okay, yep, I'm fucked. Like, I'm fucked. Now I really know I'm fucked. So I sit down, and my teacher looks at me, and she's like, "Austin, what'd you do yesterday?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "No, come on, don't play dumb. Like, we know what you did. We looked over the library security cameras today, and we saw you go in there and go on my computer and alter students' projects." I was like, okay, look, I'm sorry. I thought it'd be a funny joke. It wasn't. I'm sorry. And the principal was just like, yeah, well, we don't take that lightly here. So you have 2 days of ISS now. And what ISS is just in-school suspension. So for the next 2 days, I'd have to go to a room and just sit there the whole day until the bell rang. So from start to finish, I just have to sit in detention, basically. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fair. And she's like, all right, go there now. So I went and started my first day. And it was the most unlucky fucking thing in my life. Because not only did I just try and, like, be some fucking cool guy that pulled a prank on all the students, and it failed. But then something else happened. It was like the unluckiest day of my life. So I go to the ISS room after this, and the ISS room is literally just like straight up just all the bad kids in one room with one security guard. And like obviously some people in there aren't bad, but like a lot of the times the kids that are in ISS are kids that get like into fights or caught smoking, you know, things that are worth getting put in suspension for. But for me, I honestly thought they went a little too hard. I thought maybe 1 day would be better, but 2. But whatever, I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it. So I went to ISS, I sit down in the back of the room, and these 2 kids get walked in right after me that were just caught in the bathroom about to fight. And I don't know how they caught them. I guess they like went in there with a bunch of people, and one of the staff members saw it, and they were suspicious because a bunch of people were going into one bathroom, and they called security. So these 2 kids come in right next to each other who were just about to fight each other. So clearly they don't like each other. So I don't know why my school thought it was a good idea to put them in the same fucking room. But they sit them down in desks that are almost right next to each other. And the whole like first hour of being there, they're staring at each other. Like they're just staring at each other and mouthing like words to each other that don't seem nice. And I'm just like, oh, is there about to be a fight? Like, is there really about to be a fight? Like, I really hope so, because this room is boring as fuck. And sure enough, after like an hour and a half, my wish was fucking granted. One of the kids yelled out at the other one, was like, yo, stop fucking staring at me. And the dude he said that to stood up and was just like, I'm staring at you because I can't figure out why you're so fucking ugly. And then the other dude stands up and goes to walk over to him and get in his face. And the security guard tries to stand up and stop this. And of course, the one security guard that's in the room with us, to like make sure everything's under control, is like a 5-foot old lady who's only good for patrolling the hallways and handing out hall passes. So you damn well know if two teenage boys get into a fight, this lady is not going to be able to stop it. So they get in each other's faces and they start screaming at each other and talking shit and starting to push each other. And the lady goes over there and tries to stop it, but because she's like way shorter than them and just like not as strong, she can't really like split them up. And then sure enough, one of them swings and the fight just breaks out and they start beating on each other. And the lady's trying to stop it, but it's just failing and she can't stop it. So I stand up and I'm like, all right, what the fuck? Like, what is going on right now? And this girl that was in ISS with me, she stood up too and she's like, I'm out of here. And she opens the door and walks out just in the middle of everything going on. And I'm like, wow, she really just dipped on this whole situation. So I go to run over to the door and open it and like yell out for help, for like a teacher to come help and try and stop this. And as I was going over to the door, one of the guys ran at the other one and tried to tackle him. And they both were like kind of hugging each other and like moving really quick. And they bumped into me and fucking sent me flying down over a chair. And it hurt so bad. Like, imagine getting your shins smashed into a chair and then tripping over the chair and landing on your shoulder. It hurt so fucking bad. And I'm like, dude. And I got up and I fucking threw a chair at one of them because I was so pissed. And I was just like, dude, fuck these kids. So I walked out of the room and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I do not deserve to be in a room with that kind of shit going on. But of course, I'm not going to ditch that lady in there, that security guard that was dealing with that. Like, I felt bad for her still. So I yelled out for some help. I got a teacher across the hallway to come and help. And he went in there and helped break up the fight. And he was like an actual, like, pretty big dude.
Yo, shout out to the people that are locked up in the Bikini Bottom, bro. Man, we got Mr. Krabs, Plankton, Karen, Sandy Cheeks, Mrs. Puff, and Pearl. Man, they all locked up. Can't believe it no more, bruh. Damn, I'm out. Yo, I'm finna kill Bob. I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I'm smoking on dead hogs. I pull up with Glocks and I put your mans in a box. I told her I'm done. I don't think she really happy. I told her shut up before I slap you with a patty. Bow! I look from the back and she looking real fatty. Yeah, damn! I'm sick of her cause she getting real chatty. I think she a rat. 6'9". I told her to bring the whip to bring me straight to Mackie. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That girl is a munch, like Ice Spice. Every day I be listening to RKT. I got so. She think I'm a joke, and I told her I am, yup. And I told her to sleep on the sofa, and she thought I was playing. Nope. Yo, I'm finna kill Bob. I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I'm smoking on dead hogs. I pull up with Glocks, and I put your mans in a box. I told her I'm done. I don't think she really happy. I told her shut up before I slap you with a patty. Bow! I look from the back and she looking real fatty. Yeah, damn! I'm sick of her cause she getting real chatty. I think she a rat. 6'9". I told her to bring the whip to bring me straight to Mackie. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That girl is a munch, like Ice Spice. Every day I be listening to RKT. I got so. She think I'm a joke, and I told her I am, yup. And I told her to sleep on the sofa, and she thought I was playing. Nope. She thought I was playing, so I told her to sleep outside with a dog. Arf, arf. I was scrolling through Insta, saw that girl with another man. What? I told her who this. She got nervous, and she started farting out her pants. Ew. She said she was trans, so I disappeared like John Cena. You can't see me. I told her I'm not like that. She turned and she got real mad. I'm finna kill Bob and I ain't talking about SpongeBob. Every day I smoking on my dead obs. I pull up my Glocks and I put your mans in a box. Damn, that's disrespectful, man. I told her I'm done. I think she real mad. She calling her man spin bag. They come out the van. His face look real mad. I told him bet. Wait, hold up. The beat's already done?